And because Dr. George M. Lomsa, he is the foundation of our work, not necessarily just ours, but he is the guy that introduced Aramaic, the language of Jesus, and the Aramaic translation of the Bible back, well, the Bible was completed in 1957, but he had been working on it since like 1936. Okay, and the uniqueness and why he stands out and why we are bringing his work back to the front is because he is unique. Okay, he was a native of a town called Marbishu that was located very remotely in the Kurdistan Mountains, and that that village spoke Aramaic, the Aramaic language, and the culture and the traditions were just like that of Jesus. When the I believe it was missionaries got there to that village, they wanted to know, were the Romans still in power? So, and what makes it unique is that he understood the culture, the language, how to and how to translate. So we need to keep that in mind because you can't understand the Bible unless you know have the background of the culture, traditions, and such. And of course, Dr. Errico mentored with Dr. Lomsa for 10 years. Okay, and so he experienced a lot of the behaviors, the traditions, kind of, because Dr. Lomsa, although he came to this country, he migrated to this country, he still had many of his cultural ways. And so that was very valuable for Dr. Errico to continue this work. Okay.
Morning to you.
Okay, so all right. And my name is Penny, and my partner is Reverend Martin, who is just having a few problems, but we're working on them. And we studied with Dr. Errico in Atlanta for 13 years. And then we left Atlanta and we started teaching it on our own. And we continue to learn, no matter how much and how many times you might even read the same book, the same scriptures and whatnot, you always get something new and different, and you learn stuff. So we're here to share what we've learned, and it's made a huge difference in our lives. So, okay, now let's go to our topic. Well, we're not here to convince you. We're not here to coerce you. We're not here to convert you. We are not here to condemn you, your religion, or your beliefs. And we say the last one particularly because you will hear things here that you will not agree with, maybe some of your beliefs, some of the things that you grew up with, but that doesn't mean anything. This is just education. This is the Bible, and this is the Bible from the 3rd and 4th centuries, not not what we know as the Western Bible. Okay. All right, a probably not so popular subject, but it's important because Jesus' way was different than any other prophet. So, you shall not kill. Now, what I'm going to do, we're going to go through some things about the Bible because because it's significant. We're going to talk about the Bible first. Okay. The Bible is a witness to God's revelations and inspiration for the benefit of humanity. One may refer to this sacred book as a guide to lead humanity to God. That is, to peace, harmony, health, and prosperity. And then this next one is very important to understand. One must also realize that this book, the Bible, was written by men who had some experience with God and who had heard the divine inner voice. It is a book of guidance in all phases of human relations. And throughout the centuries, humanity has never been able to dispense with it. The Bible has been around a very long time, and nothing has been able to replace it for edification and consolation. All right, and I got one more thing here. Scriptures were conceived and inspired by God and written by Hebrew men who spoke and wrote as God moved through them to the people in their days, using idioms, similes, parables, and metaphors in order to convey their messages. Now, the biggest reason I wanted to bring this out is, number one, you must read the Bible. You have to understand the cultural background, the idioms, the parables, because they're all related to the ancient way of life. Okay, but the other place where we have problems with this is that many of our churches have doctrines that say that God, the Bible, is the inerrant word of God, and not condemning that, but we get into trouble with that all the time because they don't understand the idioms or the similes, and they don't understand the background. So I just wanted to bring that out. And the other thing, and it's clear with Dr. Lambsa's teachings and our teaching, is that God did not write the Bible, as you've just heard. The Bible is a book of stories. Okay, the library is our books with stories in them, and so we just need to realize that God did not write the Bible, and God did not come down with his finger and write the 10 Commandments. Okay, so I just wanted to do that because it comes into play with many of the things that we teach. Okay, so let's go to killing. All right, now I just have because thou shalt not kill, the idea of kill and murder and whatnot is all mixed up in the Bible. It just is. So I wanted to do that a little bit before we go to Jesus, what Jesus says about it. So basically, definition: to kill is to cause the death of a person, animal, or other living thing. To murder, to kill someone unlawfully and with premeditation. Okay. Now, you shall not kill. Okay, it originated the 10 Commandments. Okay, and it is in Exodus. Hold on. Exodus 20:13, you shall not kill. Now, okay. When the 10 commandments were given to Moses, okay, they were in the desert. They were all Hebrews. And so at that time, thou shalt not kill meant that you shall not kill another member of your own tribe, race, or religion. But it didn't mean that you could not kill people of other tribes, races, or religions. That's back very ancient, okay, very ancient days. However, and I don't know if you ever noticed this or not, but when you start reading beyond, well, starting in Exodus, but beyond that, you come up with all these rules, and you come up with death for such things as picking up a stick on the Sabbath. And so people say, well, isn't that killing? Well, I don't know, but the tribes of Israel, after a while, I mean, they were warring within themselves and killing each other. So it's and it still is. We'll get up to nowadays. It still is a I don't know if you want to call it gray, but it is contradictory in many ways. And so the universality of God, that means that God was not just the Hebrews' God, that God was everybody's God, including the Gentiles, was unknown until the 8th century BCE. The Mosaic laws being revealed by God are suitable for both the Jews and the Gentiles. And now, you know, thou shalt not kill is basically, it's basically carried out by all nations, and it's in every religion. But we have the debate, the whatever, concerning thou shalt not kill, or thou should not murder. So, and the problem lies here, both the Hebrew word and the Aramaic word can mean either one. It can mean kill or murder. And if you compared Bibles, I didn't compare them all, but actually Dr. Lambsa translated it as thou shall not kill. But a lot of I was looking at the what's it, the NIV or whatever, and they have all changed to you shall not murder. So I just wanted to talk about that because that was always confusing to me, still is, but can't explain it. So this commandment implies that when one kills another, one is in reality killing himself. Kind of deep here, but if you think about it, it's really true. Life is one, and its essence is the same in everyone. Okay, so now, oh, and I just kind of thought I would, various religions and denominations have different doctrines. And the ones I put the ones down here who, and there's no, I mean, with these that I have listed here, you know, there's no going back and forth. It's no killing whatsoever. Now, just a couple of statements about this. Quakers, of course, were conscientious objectors, continue to be. They do not kill. Now, there is I know some of you are probably saying, whoa, wait a minute, the Muslims, they were killing people over there and everything. However, when we were traveling on the road, we had a very just a very unique experience in that we visited the Mother Mosque of the country, which is in Cedar Rapids, Ohio, or Iowa, and we met the imam there, who was just very, very gracious and very much into not just is very devout in his religion, but he was a coordinator of the community. In other words, the Muslims there, they've been in America for a very long time, okay, and they're part of a community that, the churches, the prisons, the whatnot, they're all one community, and that's the way they see it, even though their ways may be different as they celebrate it. And but at that time, there was a lot going on with the Muslims and whatnot, and so we asked him specifically, well, what about the killing? And he said in no uncertain terms, you want to talk about Muslims, but it's Muslims is the religion. And he said, no killing, period. So, and if you remember Muhammad Ali, what he went through as a conscientious objector. So they are clearly no killing. And just a little note, the Seventh-day Adventists are the same, very, very strict, no deviation, no killing. And I didn't put it on here, sorry about that. But if you wanted to see an example of the Seventh-day Adventists, there is a movie called Hacksaw Ridge. And it's very, very interesting. And the young man in that movie, he went to war, he never did a gun, he never shot people, and very interesting. So I just thought I would bring this up. And of course, the Buddhist, you don't kill even a fly. So that's where it, is it killing, or, and then we of course we have the thing with, is it murder, is it killing? But I just thought I would bring that out before we get to. Okay, so now we are up to Jesus' teachings, and we're using Matthew 5:21 and 22. And we're going to compare the KJV here because it's just got a lot of stuff, so to speak. So Lamsa is the top one. You have heard that it was said to those who were before you, you shall not kill. And whoever kills is guilty before the court. But I say to you that whoever becomes angry with his brother for no reason is guilty before the court. And whoever should say to his brother, Raka, which means I spit on you, is guilty before the congregation. And whoever says to his brother, you are effeminate, is condemned to hell fire. Okay, now let's go to the King James, and then we'll sort this out. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. Similar, just, okay. But I say to you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. Whoever shall say to his brother, Raka, with no explanation, okay, shall be in danger of the council. But whoever says, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. All right, now let's look at Okay, let's look at this word raka. It means I spit on you. And expectorating, spitting, is the most contemptible action one can take in Near Eastern society, even today. And so it is obviously a catalyst for problems, violence, and even killing. Now, it's also, you notice it was in the KJV, but it wasn't. It didn't say anything about it. So that's an example of when people say to you, the Bible is Greek, the Bible was originally Greek, and the Bible is Greek. Well, if your Bible is Greek, then how come these Aramaic words have been left in there? And there are about 42 Aramaic words that you will find in the King James and the others, the other different versions of the Bible. They were left in there, I guess, because the scholars that were translating just didn't know what to say or how to use it. So anyway, now making offensive remarks to another can and often does lead to unnecessary loss of life. So notice Jesus didn't get into, we'll talk about that in a minute. All right. Jesus didn't get into thou shalt not kill, and because that's a sin and da 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 da. All right. Jesus did not talk about sin. Okay. And Jesus didn't say that you're going to be punished by your sin and da da da. That was not Jesus' way. So now let's get to the word fool. Now, the word if you noticed, if I can go back, to the scripture. All right. King James says, whoever shall say thou fool. All right. Now, Lomsa says you are effeminate. Okay. Now, let's go back. And the Aramaic word that's used there is lila. Okay. And it was in the translations, somehow it just got translated wrongly, and the word fool was used, but that word is not in Aramaic. Now, but let's talk about this word fool. Now, I don't know about any of you, but when I was growing up, you didn't say fool at all. In my house, you didn't say fool. Okay. Well, you just didn't say it. But at the time, I didn't know that this is where it came from, the Bible. And I'm sure my mother didn't know either, but that's the way traditions from the Bible were everywhere. And so, but saying that word in the Near East, it has no effect. It's just the way that it was carried through in the Bible. So the actual Aramaic word is lila, okay? And it is an offensive but antiquated Aramaic term. To call someone lila is worse than an insult because it reflects on that person's character. Now, that word effeminate, now let's get this clear. That doesn't mean gay, okay? A lot of people want to think that because we kind of use it, but it's not. So in the ancient Near East, certain Aramaic speaking clans in the mountains of Kurdistan and also at the turn of the 12th century. Okay, the term Lila referred to men who performed household duties that a woman would do. Most Near Eastern fathers would consider it a disgrace to mind the children in the absence of their wives. So, and it also means nursemaid and coward. So you can imagine if you called, if somebody called another guy, another whatnot, Lila, it meant nursemaid and coward. And you can just believe that that stirred up a lot of trouble. So Jesus is saying, wait, I know you do not kill, but you don't, well, let's go to the results though. All right, or you will be condemned to hellfire. Now, last week we went over and talked about hell, but hellfire, okay, is an idiom, and it merely means deep regret, mental suffering, torment, or destruction. This inner psychological condition is a result of making grave, offensive remarks against one's brother that could lead to revenge and murder. So remember last week we said, you know, hell is not a place where God roasts people, where you go when you die. Okay. And so we talked about that. And of course, but it's a state of being, and being it suffering, mental suffering, torment, or this destruction. Okay, because when you say those things, if you're angry enough or whatever to say that to someone, you're going to be in a state of mental torment, and possibility that the other guy will be too, and it can lead to violence. And when it talks about, when you talk about, well, maybe for me, no, I mean, you can do offensive remarks and really, really hurt somebody to the point that they may want to do violence to themselves. And so Jesus is just saying, well, hey, you know, killing, okay, that's right. You shouldn't, thou shalt not kill.
Yeah.
But
No worries.
But what he's saying is, you know, and remember how the Pharisees and the Sadducees were, they were very righteous. They were very pious people. And I'm sure they went around and said, well, I've never killed anyone. I'm, you know, I keep all the commandments. I don't know. And Jesus said, well, that's not enough. And that's what all that fuss with the Pharisees and the Sadducees that Jesus went through with, you know, that's what it was all about. So we must recognize, and that's the other thing. Again, nobody pays attention to the teachings of Jesus. Churches, their priority is Paul, and they may do something with the Gospels, but it's just not taught. In addition, and as I keep realizing more and more, if they do, and if you do read the Gospel, some of these, like we're talking about this and what Jesus said, knowing the culture and whatnot, we understand it. But, and when we were talking about turn the other cheek last week, and people just say, well, no way, I'm not going to do that. Well, it's not, you know, it's not a tight thing. You don't always not turn the other cheek, as we spoke, because self-defense is one thing. But when you get to these, you know, offenses against others, isn't that what we're seeing in our world today? You know, people have, well, the shootings in Buffalo. Now, I'm not going to get political here, but the shootings in Buffalo were done by a young man who believed that the blacks were going to replace the whites in this world. Where did he get that from? Well, nobody ever really says, except they did say that the parents had that theory, but it's like, well, I mean, yeah, but he wasn't, he wasn't going to shoot anybody. But, these offensive remarks, no matter who it's from or whatnot, they can escalate into killing, murder. And so I just put down here, some things because it's relevant. It's relevant today. I hate, jealousy, envy, anger. It just all causes violence. And so if we were to really pay attention to Jesus' teachings, we might have some different consequences out there in the world. I don't know, but remember, that's what Jesus said, that if we're ever going to have peace on earth, if it's, and Dr. Errico has said this, I've got a video I'm going to get out. It has to start with each and every one of us practicing the teachings, and collectively, then we may eventually have peace on earth. But the key here, the whole key to Jesus' teachings is, and to do his teachings, all right, if you practice Jesus' teachings, you're going to enter heaven now, okay? And remember, that's Jesus' whole mission, was to establish the counsel and the presence. That's what the word kingdom means, to establish the counsel and the presence of God here on earth. And so how can you enter into that? How can you live in the presence? Well, you practice Jesus' teachings. So I'm going to I'd like to maybe have some discussion. So and maybe add how these scriptures apply today. Let me just okay. All right. Now, we are a 501c3 institution. We thank everybody for their contributions. We appreciate them. There's a lot that we could do, and hopefully we're going to be publishing some stuff. But anyway, we appreciate that. And okay, and of course, this is Dr. Lambsa's book, The Kingdom of Heaven on Earth, paperback and ebook.